This is Mavis, and here we talk about you and talk about God. We talk about how God has designed you for success and how, as a child of God, you can tap into strategy. You can be effective in the earth by listening to God and getting better in your relationship with Him. I believe God has a strategy for success for each one of His children, and He has given us the gifts and the empowerment, the anointing that we need to succeed. But we need to learn to hear His voice and follow Him. Most of us know God, have heard about Him, but we don't know how He speaks to us, how He guides us, and what He wants us to do in this season. I was talking to my friend the other day, and I was explaining about my goals and plans and my frustrations. And she asked me, what does God say about this whole thing? I realized I didn't know. I didn't know because I was in my feelings. I was frustrated. I wanted to complain and to vent, which is allowed when you're going through some situations. But after the venting, after the complaining, I go to logic. So I was logically planning and systemizing, and I was calling it wisdom. But ultimately, I did not know what God was guiding me to. And I was afraid to ask what God was guiding me to because I was afraid He would contradict what I wanted. So sometimes you're like, no, I need to move. And God is like, no, you need to stay. And you're afraid of staying. You're afraid of the implication of staying. You really want to see that change happen. And when God says you need to stay, it sort of like unrattles you. So that is a reality for me where I know that I am ignoring God. I don't want to go to His feet and hear Him because He might contradict me. But if I know that, then I can go back to Him and say, help me listen to you, help me remove the fear and everything that is coming up in my head as I think about letting you in. You see? So most of us as Christians have plans and goals, are going places, and somehow we remove God out of it. In the heat of a moment, we don't hear God for ourselves, and therefore we miss out. I remember the story of Joshua in the Bible. Joshua was going to battle. He fought the first battle in a very miraculous way. He just went around a city and the walls fell down, and that's how they won. The second battle, though, was with a smaller city. And because it was a smaller city, he took it for granted. And he thought, yeah, I'm going to win this. It can't be as bad as the previous city. It was bigger. It was more challenging. And so he went without asking God, and he was embarrassed. He lost that battle in a crazy way. See, God was teaching him that just because I have guided you one time doesn't mean that's the only way I guide you. And just because you have heard me one time doesn't mean that you don't need to hear me on the next journey. There are so many things that are simple decisions we're making in our lives. But when we submit them to God and we're in tune with God, those are life transforming decisions. That could be a platform for the next level. But we really, as Christians, have to learn to hear God. We really have to learn to hear the strategy and how to execute the strategy, brick by brick. You can hear the big picture. Yes, move to this new country. Yes, get this new job. But what does He want you to do there? Who does He want you to partner with or refrain from? You see, so we have power as Christians, but our relevance in this earth depends on our ability to not just have power, but to have the strategy, the information, the wisdom to execute that power. And today I'm actually talking about power because I've been reading a book for the 8 laws of power, and I've been reading the book of Proverbs, and I see so many similarities in the things that God teaches us to do as Christians and the things that are in this book for the 8 laws of power. And I was thinking, before this book was written, the Bible was already written. So God knew these things and was teaching these things to His children, strategies on how to be on top, how to excel, how to win, how to understand people, how to do well in relationships. God already knew these things and He put them in the book of Proverbs, in the Bible. And so when someone is writing a book like for the 8 laws of power and people are being like blown, their minds are being blown and they're being like shaken, they're thinking, this is amazing strategy. God is like, okay, I knew that. But then look at Christians. As a Christian, I'm also shocked when I read for the 8 laws of power. I'm shocked by how people use are strategic, how people use deception, seduction, how people use emotions to be able to win against their enemies. I see lots of wisdom that the world is giving its people. And I'm like, God knows these things. God knows how people work. And He's put this in a very wholesome way in the Bible. But us as His children don't have time to go through the Bible. We are too busy to get strategy from our Maker. And our Maker is trying to get us to the top quickly. He knows the hearts of the people around us. And He says, let me preserve you. Let me get you to the top. And we have no time for Him. It's a shame. But I really want us to talk about power because God has given us power. That's what He created us for. He says, I'm giving you dominion on the earth. I'm giving you authority to reign on the earth. The earth is under you. You decide how you want to maneuver, what you want to dominate, how you want to operate. So each one of us has been given some gifts and talents that allow us to excel in a certain area. This is why you find that some people are just good scientists. Whether they fear God or not, they'll just be amazing scientists because God has given them the equipment in their brains for that. Others are just good singers. Others are good with people. Different gifts come with our making. That's how God made us. Because his intention was for each one of us to practice power in the earth, dominion, to reign, to organize something with the gifts that he has given us. Now, the problem comes with sin. Sin separates us from God and our ability to hear him and to operate the way he designed us to. So a person who has been given a skill and God had a plan for how you should use that skill, that talent, you are disconnected from God. Now you can use that talent for evil or even to destroy yourself or even not even know you have that talent. Because every talent and gift that God has given you will not be in its fullest form. As you go through life, you'll be allowed to shape it. Challenges will come, they'll shape that, they'll perfect that skill. So if you are, let's say, a good scientist, you're going to go to school, you're going to practice, you're going to get a qualification, you're going to have some experiments, you're going to fail at some experiments, and you keep going like that. Life will give you different corners and edges and challenges, and you will perfect what God has given you. But when you walk away from God, when you embrace a certain life, a mindset that separates yourself from God, you find that the challenges that come to sharpen your gift, to sharpen your relevance, to make your light shine, those ones can destroy you because you're not equipped for them. They can destroy you, they can harm you. Sometimes someone, let's say, lies on you and they deceive you and you feel so disappointed and frustrated and you quit. Someone says a comment about your voice, you're a singer, you quit. Someone says something about maybe your skill in an office, you are disappointed and you do something. You see, so God has given us the ability to reign, to rule, and to dominate in a certain field. But we must partner with God, with his skills and strategies, and our ability to hear him, to be able to effectively deploy that gift and that skill in the earth. So this is what this book, 48 Laws of Power, does. It basically tells us that as people, you want to control some things. You want to be in charge of your life. You want to be able to move your life the direction you want. You don't want to just live at the mercy of the winds. Someone comes into your life, they promote you, demote you, they move you to a different country. No one likes to live like that. We want to be in charge. And that's what God made us for, to be in charge of something, to dominate something. And so this guy is talking about all these things you can do and all these people in history who have dominated and have won in their different spaces. And he goes to sum it up and say that everyone had this skill. This skill is your ability to manage your emotions. If you don't have this, you'll suffer through life. And as I was reading through Proverbs, there's Proverbs 29 verse 11, where it says, a fool gives full vent of their anger. Let me make sure that verse is right. Yes, Proverbs 29 verse 11. A fool gives full vent of their anger, but a wise person practices restraint. There are scriptures like that in the Bible over and over. It says, a person who is criticized and listens to the criticism will prosper. But if they refuse to be criticized and take that criticism, they will suffer. What God was trying to say is, we as people will be triggered in different situations. Our ability to see the trigger and pause our reaction or choose our reaction to that trigger is powerful. So there are people who have lost opportunities because they entered a space and somebody said something that triggered them and they were angry. Now the opportunity to be employed or to partner or to get funds or to win something, that opportunity was lost because they couldn't control their anger. And sometimes when your enemy knows that spot, that emotional trigger, they can use it against you. I see my kids use that against me. They're not even enemies, but they use that against me. They know when we say this to mom, this will happen. Your ability to see that somebody has touched something that is crucial for me, something that is painful for me. But instead of me reacting from that place, I'll take a pause. That is number one law of power. That is number one law of effectiveness as a Christian in your field. Your ability to look at an insult and overlook it. Your ability to look at an offense and overlook it. Your ability to see an enemy and learn from them or study them. Because when somebody is triggered, they speak a lot or they react in a way that will show you their true colors. If you are a person who is operating in wisdom, instead of participating in that emotional issue, like you're now contributing or fighting, if you keep quiet and stay calm, you can learn about an opponent. You can learn, oh, this is an area that is of interest to them. Oh, this is a weak area for them. Oh, this is where they want to go. Because when a person is emotional, they expose a lot. And I see so many of us, God's children, in our different spaces, being emotionalized, having no emotional intelligence, having no ability to see a situation and hold your peace. Your ability to be patient in a situation, knowing that I'm looking like a fool today, but give it 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks. Who can do that? Somebody comes and they do something that is embarrassing to you, but you know that if I react, there's nothing to gain, and you decide to walk away. That is hard, even for me. Especially for me, that is hard. But that's what God calls us to. And that is the number one law of power. If you're going to prosper in your field, in relationships, you should master your emotions. You should understand your emotions, understand people's emotions, and then learn to control them and master them. You can use them to propel you forward. You can use them to make a plan and strategy. It will expose opportunities. It will expose your weaknesses and the weaknesses of your enemy. You can strategically position yourself if you just understand emotional intelligence. Read the book of Proverbs. God has said so many amazing things about what you should do with your emotions. He says that a person who is able to control their emotions is a person who is going to go far, a person who God can use. You see? So I hope this was helpful for you. I just wanted to come in here and just encourage you, especially from Proverbs 22, verse 11. And then there is also Proverbs 29, verse 11, and Proverbs 22, verse 3. Those are very powerful verses. I hope this was helpful. My kids and family are back. They were shopping whilst I was doing this. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.